Hi, I'm Jeff Blocker, and I am the store manager here at Bound to Be Read Books in East Atlanta Village. And today, we're very excited to have a E.B. White Award-winning author and a National Book Award finalist, and zinnia grower extraordinaire, Deborah. And I'm just going to start out by let Deborah talk about her childhood, and then get into how she started writing children's books. She's written, let's see, Each Little Bird That Sings, which was the National Book Award finalist, correct?
Yeah.
And then Love Ruby Lavender.
Right.
And then the Aurora County All-Stars, which I read and enjoyed. And also Freedom Summer, which was illustrated by
Jerome Lagaree.
And did he not win a Coretta Scott King
Oh
Award?
yeah, he won 2 awards: the Coretta Scott King Steptoe New Talent Award and an Ezra Jack Keats Award too for an outstanding first book.
Right. And then also Wide Open Sky, is that correct?
Oh, One White Sky.
One White
It's a
Sky.
counting book.
County book.
Music by Jim Pierce.
Who is no relation to her husband, of course. And Deborah herself, when you go down the list of all the awards that she's won, it's like she's won more awards than Elizabeth Taylor's had lovers, so.
Oh my!
I'm not going to get into that, so I'm just going to turn it over to Deborah and ask her to tell us about her origins.
My origins. Ooh. I could do something with that. Let's see, I was born in Alabama. My dad was an Air Force pilot, and he and my mother met on a blind date. And they were both from Mississippi. My mother was a civil servant, and she was a stenographer at Brookley Field Air Force Base in Mobile, and my dad was flying, and they met, fell in love. My dad got transferred right away to, I think he went to Korea, actually. And then when he came back, I was born a year later. So I was their first child, and we moved everywhere. I have a younger brother, a younger sister, and we just spent all of our family life moving from post to post. But it was a wonderful life growing up in the Air Force. But the one constant in my life was always Mississippi, because they were both from Mississippi, my folks. And so we would always go back to see the relatives. So summer was always spent in Mississippi with this cast of characters, and the 3 maiden aunts who scared me to death, and the old guy in the garden who I thought was going to kill me with his rake, and the very, very funny, the party line where the woman would call up once a week and say, "Have you got any news for us?" and put the little paper out that said, "T.P. Edwards and his family arrived for a week in Mississippi, and had dinner with Pastor so-and-so, and we had roast beef," that sort of thing. So all those memories are really, really, they were real instrumental in who I grew up to be. And that became home for me.
Mm-hmm.
And when I began trying to write my own books, I started out not knowing what I had to write about. And then I just gravitated toward those stories, those Mississippi stories, because they were first, they were elemental, and they were closest to my heart, and I understood them. And so I grew up, got married, had a family, and freelanced for some time, and then turned my attentions to children's books when my son Zach, who's sitting right over there, and I were sitting in the floor of an independent bookstore in Frederick, Maryland, and I pulled off Cynthia Ryland's When I Was Young in the Mountains off the shelf. And it just blew me over. And the first sentence was, "When I was young in the mountains, grandfather came home covered with the black dust of a coal mine. Only his lips were clean, and he used them to kiss the top of my head." And I thought, when I was young in Mississippi, and that started it. I got a notebook out, and I began to write down every